Welcome back. Mumbai top cop Parambir Singh has been transferred. The Commissioner of Police of Mumbai was shifted as Director General Home Guard. While the Shiv Sena says this transfer is routine, they're trying to play down the fallout of Inspector Sachin Vaze episode. The BJP has come out all guns blazing. From Devendra Fadnavis, who says that he was the Vasuli Admi or someone who was involved in extortion for the Shiv Sena. That's the allegation that Devendra Fadnavis levels. To Kirit Somaya saying, we want action against the Thakre Sarkar's Vaze gang. Take a look at this report.
An explosive-laden Scorpio outside the residence of India's richest man. The mysterious death of a man who had the possession of the vehicle before it allegedly got stolen. A former encounter specialist who is behind bars for allegedly planting explosives outside Mukesh Ambani's residence. Case that shook the power corridors of Maharashtra has claimed a big victim. Mumbai top cop Parambir Singh has been shunted out by the Uddhav Thackeray government in what is being seen as a big fallout of probe into Sachin Vaze's alleged involvement in the case. Uddhav Thackeray government shunted Parambir Singh as DG Home Guards Department, replacing him DGP Hemant Nagrale. However, the BJP hit out at the Agadi government, calling it a cover-up.
वो मुंबई के सीपी थे, आज उनको ट्रांसफर किया हुआ है और मेरा तो सीधा कहना है कि ये परमवीर सिंह या सचिन वाजे बहुत छोटे लोग हैं। इनका नाम लेके ये कभी गुत्थी सुलझने नहीं वाली है। इसके पीछे किसका आशीर्वाद है मैं तो आपको बार-बार इंगित करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं। इसकी जांच होनी चाहिए।
Ever since Sachin Vaze's name surfaced in the Ambani bomb scare case, the BJP has been continuously attacking the Agadi government, accusing it of shielding the tainted cop.
ये सीपी के बाद अगर किसी का कद मुंबई पुलिस में था तो सचिन वाजे का था, क्योंकि सीएम के ब्रीफिंग के समय भी वो नजर आते थे, गृह मंत्री के समय भी वो नजर आते थे.
The Agadi government maintaining that a probe was underway.
एक अधिकारी को सर्विस में लेना, उसके बाद जो हुआ है, ऐसे घटनाएं पहले भी हुई है और राज्यों में. लेकिन ठीक है, अब एक आदमी की मौत हो गई है, उसके बारे में एनआईए जांच कर रही है. जो जिलेटिन के टुकड़े मिले उसकी जांच कर रही है. एनआईए का सच सामने आने तो बाद में हम वापस बात करेंगे.
The Shiv Sena-led Mahavikas Aghadi government may have indulged into some damage control mode by shunting out the Mumbai Police Commissioner. But the political slugfest is far from over, as the opposition is now likely to gun for the Home Minister's head. The murkier saga is only likely to get darker. With camera person Vaibhav Kangutkar, Kamlesh Sutar in Mumbai for India Today.
There are many layers to this investigation. Joining me on the broadcast, Shaina NC, spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Vikram Singh is former Director General of the Uttar Pradesh Police. Dhaval Kulkarni is an author and journalist, and Daniel Francis, a political analyst, and they keep a very keen eye on the Shiv Sena. Shaina NC, why is Devendra Fadnavis calling for an NIA investigation into the Mansukh Hiren death? Is this lack of faith in the Mumbai police, ma'am?
So Gaurav, I come from a police family and we are all very, very respectful towards Mumbai police. But in this case, it is a total botch-up. Now you look at the facts, the NIA grilled Sachin Vaze for over 11 hours and findings were on multiple counts, be it forgery, be it extortion, be it criminal conspiracy, etc., etc. Look at the track record of this particular person in question. 2002, the Khwaja Yunus case, the witness and the evidence both disappear. You have a custodial death and there is no accountability. 2007, he wants to come back into the police force but is not given any entry. We know the only place he's got entry is a political party at a Dasera rally. Post that, he is catapulted in COVID times, and the logic reason being given that we are short on staff, and that's why we wanted to have more police personnel. Now, this is not befitting to the particular role that has happened, where you have somebody in question knowing about this conspiracy, where a car is found with all these this explosive material. Then you have Mr. Hiren, whose body is found in a creek in Thane, and still no accountability. I mean, Devendra Fadnavis is absolutely right when he says that these are just, whether it's the police commissioner or whether it's Sachin Vaze, this could be just political insulation given by a political party or by leaders who want to cover up a larger conspiracy. And if that is to destabilize Maharashtra or Mumbai when it comes to a law and order situation, we as a responsible opposition are entitled and well within our purview to raise questions and hand over this case to the NIA. So at least the truth is unfolded.
Okay, Mr. Vikram Singh, was the action against the police commissioner, was the action against Parambir Singh warranted? Is there merit in Devendra Fadnavis implying that there was political pressure on the Maharashtra police to slow down the pace of investigations in the Mansukh Hiren death, also in the explosives case, the explosives that were found outside Mr. Mukesh Ambani's residence?
Mr. Gaurav Sawant, this is too little coming too late. There are too many murky happenings happening in a manner that the implications and the conclusions were very obvious. And the fact of the matter is that the very senior people, as Vaze himself had confessed, that he is a piece of the iceberg. What he meant was the tip of the iceberg. But yes, there is a larger ramification to the conspiracy. He could not have been a lone wolf. He was working with the remote control in the hands of the police commissioner and somebody else much, much higher up. You cannot plant a gelatin-laden car in front of the Ambani's house without the tacit connivance and the approval of the powers that be. Then Parambir should have gone much earlier. He has dishonored the uniform in a manner which is very difficult to have a parallel in the last many decades, where an officer of the rank of police commissioner has soiled and besmirched the reputation of the police department and the uniform. One had expected a lot more.
Dhawal Kulkarni.
Vaze driving
so let's take this step by step. Dhawal Kulkarni. Yes.
Cash of 5 lakhs in the car.
That was shocking.
I would be expected that he should come down like a ton of bricks on him. He did not. He looked the other way.
Shocking. That was shocking. A Mercedes-Benz with 5 lakh rupees plus those number plates near the police commissioner's office. I mean, unbelievable. Dhawal Kulkarni reflects rather poorly both on the government and the police in Maharashtra. Devendra Fadnavis alleges a link between Shiv Sena leaders and this tainted police officer Sachin Vaze, and raises questions about the importance that was given to Sachin Vaze when he was reinstated. Whether it was in his jurisdiction or not, he was given all the important cases. Is there merit in Devendra Fadnavis saying Vasuli Adhikari ke roop mein baithaya gaya usko? Extortion was the motive.
See, Gaurav, the NBA regime has made things all the more difficult for itself after some Shiv Sena leaders, some senior Shiv Sena leaders, defended Vaze in a very brazen manner. There's no denying the fact that this is an extremely murky case. One man has lost his life, but still, I urge that let us not jump to any conclusions. Let us err on the side of caution. Let us hope that the investigations will reveal the truth, untainted by any political bias. And most importantly, let us also hope that the investigating agencies in this case will be able to make out a very watertight case by determining, this is more important, the actual intent and motive behind this act. Gaurav, I said this on said it on the show before. The problem is the gradual politicization of the police force by successive governments.
But today I would like to stay on the specific issue. I will come to police reforms in a moment. But Daniel Francis, no sir.
Let me.
We'll come on the bigger issue of police reforms. Sir, we have to stay on the very specific case. Until police reforms happen, we cannot have corrupt policemen in the system. Let's be very clear about it. While those reforms will happen when they happen, but action needs to be taken against people here. But Devendra Fadnavis, Daniel Francis.
Can I just say one thing,
Gaurav? Specialist, one of the dirty harries of the police force. I mean, all this was happening in the public eye. I mean, these people were once upon a time hailed as encounter specialists. Let us not forget this.
Okay,
The rot
Daniel
goes
Francis,
deeper.
Daniel Francis,
This is only a
Devendra
second.
Fadnavis has leveled very serious charge against saying Sachin Vaze
and an extortionist. Gaurav, you must raise this point. There's a difference between an encounter specialist and an extortionist.
Okay.
And if there is this kind of blatant corruption, where you write letters threatening people and their children, and this kind of insensitivity which is happening blatantly below your eyes, I think there needs to be some head that rolls within the government. Forget just the police force. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay. Daniel Francis, Devendra Fadnavis says Sachin Vaze was reinstated and the term he used is Vasuli Adhikari. Was he reinstated for extortion? He's listed out Vaze's history, which included an extortion case in 2017, and Devendra Fadnavis insists that he refused to reinstate Sachin Vaze despite pressure that was mounted from the Shiv Sena, he alleges.
I spoke to a few senior officers this afternoon and asked, what is the status of those officers that are suspended, and whether they can be reinstated, and what are the activities that they should indulge in. And they categorically told me that a suspended officer should not indulge in any political activity or even a business activity. So, the political call that the government of Maharashtra took to reinstate him, I think that call now has cost them politically a very heavy price. Because since this controversy really started, it's an unbelievable thing that an API goes and allegedly plants a vehicle full of gelatin outside the house of India's most powerful man. And what message this really sends to the whole country, or the whole that is this police force or people in the police force. Maharashtra police is also actually a very good force. Mumbai police is considered a very good police system. It has this is a blot on the police system, and for an API to go and plant a vehicle outside India's most powerful house, and then there's a person who's killed somewhere, and then this car with cash and counting machine. Heads will have to roll and accountability will have to set.
No, and then Shaina NC. Then the Shiv Sena stands accused of allegedly protecting that police inspector, saying you're trying to compare him to Osama bin Laden.
That's a tactical mistake the Sena made by protecting him initially. I think now they want to
but Shaina NC, to be fair to Mumbai Police, they said they registered the case, they carried out the investigation, they got him and interrogated him. The NIA got a pakaya case, as friends in Mumbai Police tell me.
No, friends in Mumbai
Gaurav,
Police,
I don't think this is about...
1 second. Friends in Mumbai Police also tell me that the Mumbai Police is, first of all, not shocked by the actions of this particular individual. And there are very senior and sincere officers that are very embarrassed about what has happened and how this story has unfolded.
I've been told so.
And
I've been told so. Okay, Shaina NC wanted to come in. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
So, give me a moment. Let me get Shaina NC into the conversation. Go on, ma'am.
Gaurav, my limited point is this, that we are not brushing everyone with the same paintbrush or suggesting that all of Mumbai Police is bad. I mean, this is a case which obviously needs to have accountability, transparency and honesty, because it smells of all kinds of corrupt practices, extortion, and we know that the sequence of events has led to the death of the individual who was found in the most suspicious circumstances in a creek in Thane. That's not what we want our state or our city to be known for. This is the same Mumbai Police that we look up to for solving cases. And I think that if there is political insulation, they need to be exposed to the fullest. The track record of Sachin Vaze is known to all from 2002 to from the Khwaja.
Because Dhaval Kulkarni, the allegations are grave. The allegations are very grave.
I think that it's
Devendra Fadnavis says the intention was
actually fall on this pretext.
No,
and this premise, because there's nobody to answer questions and only people to give excuses.
I would still say
the government can fall, you say.
For the NIA to get involved at this stage was too early, and this is where the politicization of the whole
Sir, the
scandal really
NIA
starts.
investigated for 11 hours.
So Mumbai Police was also very capable. Mumbai Police was also very capable of handling and solving this mystery.
Obviously not. Obviously not.
No way.
And I think that if the NIA comes in to expose the truth on all these charges that have been that he's been summoned with, then it obviously shows you that there was somebody.
Okay, Mr. Vikram Singh knows more about policing than all of us put together. Mr. Vikram Singh, was it premature to bring in? Was it premature? Was it premature to bring in the NIA?
Yeah, you're better
in
off
this case?
asking him.
Mr. Rahul Kanwar, the NIA is the best thing that could have possibly happened because the credibility of the Mumbai Police was at an abysmally low. They had no vestiges of credibility or anything that could say that whatever they were doing was within the ambit of law or propriety of investigation. The investigation was compromised. The foundation of the FIR was compromised, and those who were entrusted with the investigation turned out to be accused. On what basis do we say that the Mumbai Police even had a right to touch the investigation with a barge pole? It was only the NIA that has done justice to the investigation. We entrusted the investigation. It is the case of Rakshak becoming Bhakshaks. Never have I seen such miscarriage of justice and those with such perverse background and track record being entrusted with the most sensitive of investigation. Those whose hands are soiled with the blood of Mansukh Hiren and also all other nefarious activities are investigating the case. Who is going to investigating whom? As it is said, if the salt itself has loseth favor, with what shall it be set right?
Because Daniel Francis, the point that's being raised by the opposition BJP is a tainted police officer who's brought into the force under rather, you know, in a very strange manner, is handed over the crime intelligence unit, the most prestigious, as Devendra Fadnavis puts it, unit of the Mumbai Police. That's point one. Point two, 2 senior police inspectors are transferred and an API is made in charge of the crime intelligence unit, and every high profile case, whether it has anything to do with that jurisdiction or not, is handed over to the same API Sachin Vaze, and usko वसूली अधिकारी के रूप में बैठाया गया, and he's then handling all these high profile cases because he's politically connected. So our fingers also pointed at the political leadership and not just the police leadership, sir.
Let me tell you one thing. It was a bad call to reinstate him. It was a bad call to bring him in crime intelligence unit. Whether he's done it on his own or whether he was supported by his political masters or somebody in the police force has to be yet to be found out. It was a bad political call for the Sena to defend him, but to paint the whole force. Mumbai Police is not an ordinary force. I still have great regard for it. To paint the whole force, is not right. And let the investigation bring out the truth, because this is not an ordinary scandal. I'm saying that this is a very, very extraordinary scandal. This is not a scandal that has to be treated lightly. One is that this is a police officer who has gone rogue, and secondly is the fact that who are the people behind it should absolutely come out. People should, political masters.
China insists, is this a case of one police officer going rogue, or as Kirit Somaya says, one police officer? There is a Vaze gang, including IPS officers. What does that indicate, ma'am? What is he implying?
So I don't think this is not just about the police force. This is about much more than that. I mean, how can you have these explosives found in broad day in South Mumbai, which is supposed to be the creme de la creme of the country, living there, and all kinds of security forces there? Forget that for a minute. Okay. You have the owner of the car who was found in a creek dead. And no answering, no questions answered, no heads rolled. And they look at the track record of Sachin Vaze. We are not saying for 1 minute that all of the police force is the same. But if you need to restore the moral credibility and the accountability, transparency and honesty of a profession that one would want to look at as somebody, as just a layman, I think this is the least one would expect. And as far as the Home Minister is concerned, we demand his resignation. We demand that there be an absolute open and closed case, which the NIA is working towards. And we have all the facts in the public domain, because this is Mumbai.
Okay, Mr. Vikram Singh, you've been DGP of a state. Okay, you've been DGP of a state. Would you bring in a tainted police officer with such a background, a colored background, whether it's extortion or other
Gaurav, he
cases
wasn't
against him?
reinstated even in 2007. When he wanted to come back into the force, he was not reinstated in 2007 also. Let's not forget that. He's just skyrocketed using COVID as an excuse. Who's insulating him?
Okay, so... Okay, Mr. Vikram Singh, would such an officer then be handed over the crime intelligence unit and 2 senior police inspectors be removed? He be made in charge instead and handed over all prestigious cases, as the former Chief Minister puts it? Is that
Mr. Gaurav Sawant, upon my dead body, if I had been the police commissioner, he got a wild card entry into the department, presumably that there was a shortage of force. If there was a shortage of force, there is no dearth of upright, honest and professional police officers in Mumbai. But to pick up Sultana and Mansingh and dacoits in uniform, that was best not done or even attended to. And he was catapulted because he also happened to be a part of the Shiv Sena in the year 2008. And that is the reason why he became the blue-eyed boy and became somebody totally indispensable to the powers that be. He was not a police officer. He was a Chalta Firta office of the Shiv Sena. And that is where the problem arises. He should not have been entrusted even in the most basic investigation.
Dhaval Kulkarni, isn't all of this rather awkward and shows the Shiv Sena in poor light, sir?
Of course. See, I mean, you have had shocking revelations, shocking reports of how the Scorpio that was used in the terror scare was parked in Vaze's building, while the Innova was parked in the police headquarters. The charges being made of destruction of evidence like the CCTV footage. And what has actually stood out in this whole controversy is the way in which the Shiv Sena has very brazenly defended Sachin Vaze. When the issue was first raised in the assembly, and the most sensible thing that any government could have done was to announce his suspension on the floor of the House. That was not done. Somehow, the Home Minister seemed to be in control but not in authority. So there are too many unanswered questions here. Gaurav, I must also mention that Mr. Parambir Singh was transferred out as the Commissioner of Police today. And he is perhaps the 3rd Commissioner of Police of Mumbai in the recent years to be shunted out after Arup Patnaik and Rakesh Maria, if my memory serves me right. And even after the transfers, all is not well in the police force, because I have this from someone in good authority that generally, as per convention, the outgoing commissioner hands over charge to the new appointee. However, apparently, Mr. Parambir Singh left the Mumbai Commissioner's office before his successor Hemant Nagrale took charge. I also have this. I also know that Mr. Sanjay Pandey, who happens to be the senior most IPS officer in Maharashtra, was posted as the Director General Home Guards, and he was replaced by Parambir Singh. So Mr. Pandey is quite upset at being posted to another side posting in the Maharashtra State Security Corporation. So it is said that he may proceed on long leave. So the point is, all is not well in the Maharashtra police. I mean,
you're saying all is not well in the police.
Put a lid on the larger scam.
Okay, and this is where we want to stay on the story here at this moment, because I have last 40 seconds on the broadcast, Mr. Vikram Singh. Again, is there merit in the point that was being made that it was made to look like Mansukh Hiren had drowned in the creek? There was no water in his lungs, according to the post-mortem report. That's what Devendra Fadnavis says. All of this perhaps indicates that there was a very elaborate cover-up in this case, sir.
If there was any elaborate and a well-planned orchestrated conspiracy, Mr. Gaurav Sawant, it is this one. The way his body was camouflaged with a scarf on the mouth, clothes shoved inside the throat, and then to conceal the body was thrown into the creek. And initially there was a report of suicide. It was after much digging that it was converted into a case of 302, that is murder. The very fact that this cold-blooded deliberate murder was attempted to be concealed and was made to look something like a suicide gives a new dimension to the whole conspiracy. It is a well-planned, cold-blooded, deliberate murder to cover up a conspiracy that has national and international ramifications, impinging not only law and order, but internal security of the nation. Gauravji.
And which brings us to the point, what was the motive? We still do not know what was the motive, and perhaps NIA investigations will shed light on that. But we here will be tracking that story very, very closely. To all my guests, many thanks for joining me. That is all I have time for on India First this evening. Many thanks for watching.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.